So as you know, we are into putting opportunities together for you and for you to engage in opportunities. With that comes the disclaimer that you are responsible for your own investments. So if you make an investment, make sure you're doing your own due diligence. Don't rely on the fact that they're on our stage as your due diligence. So our mission is to provide education, networking, and inspiration necessary to enable you to make wise and profitable investments. If you remember, we did a survey and we asked our participants, like, did you do a deal or business with people in our group? And over 78% of our regular attendees have done business together. And that's why we say it's where the deals happen. So I wanted to share with you, everybody's asking, inquiring minds, like, where are we at in the market? What's happening with the market? So I just wanted to share a little bit of what's happening on the ground. My first suggestion is to turn the news off because they're creating a lot of fear that does not really exist. So looking at San Jose, if you take a look, you'll see that San Jose has appreciated 136% over the last 10 years. That 10 years is from 2002 to 2022. So that includes the 2008 to 2014 drop that we all saw. So that is phenomenal appreciation over a 10-year period. If you look at what happened just the last 12 months from between the 12 months of 2021, Q3, and 2022, there was a 21% appreciation. Now, if you look at 2022 Q2 to 2020, it's supposed to be 2023 Q. Yeah, that didn't come out right there. That's basically last year to this year, right now, as of Q4 2022 is what it's supposed to be. There was 6.91%. So things aren't going backwards. They're just not going up as fast. And that's the piece that we want to share with you. You know, everybody's like, oh no, the market's dropping. No, the market's not dropping. Things just aren't going up as fast. Now, if you look at what our typical home price is, 1.2, that means that 50% of the housing stock is more than that and 50% is less than that. And if you go to the center, like San Jose, Sunnyvale, Santa Clara, you can see it's about 1.38 as the median, and it's actually risen. Now, Zillow, you know, they aren't the god, but they have lots of money to put behind research and have all the smart people. They're saying that we will see a decline of 5.4% this year to next year. Now, 5.4% decline, but we just talked about a 20% increase. So it's not like the sky is falling and people are sitting here on the sidelines thinking, well, I'm just going to wait until we get down to 40% of our house prices. I'm telling you right now, we're not going there. There's just not enough inventory. So the other thing that's happening in the news in the San Jose market are there's a lot of layoffs or talk about layoffs. But let's take a look at what's happening here. Did you know that we had an unemployment rate of 3.7% for California? It was actually 2.1% in December for the Bay Area. So if you take a look at the chart, you're seeing, you know, back in January 21, right after COVID, to now, we've had a significant decrease in unemployment. So even though some of these firms are talking about restructuring and layoffs, it's not like it's doom and gloom. So are we in a seller's market or a buyer's market? We are still, as of January 2023 still in a seller's market. There is no difference between last year and this year. Last year, we had 777 houses for sale. That's all. That's not even like a half a month's inventory. And this year, we have the same. Now, the other thing you might hear is, the media says, oh yeah, housing sales are down 40%. Now, when they say that, people kind of register that thinking prices are down 40%. But when they say sales are down 40%, they're saying the number of sales. So in December of 2022, we had 347 sales. In January, we had 209. So be careful of listening to what stats they're putting out there. Now, here is some solid information if you are in the market to buy something as far as a house. 109 homes were sold under asking price. 22 homes at ask, 70 homes over ask. Now, back in the day, like before May of 2022, pretty much everything sold over asking price. Now, there were two reasons for that. And that was pretty much the realtors would price it low on purpose to drive up the prices. And there was a lot more demand with the lower interest rates. So if you are a buyer, you might be able to get a good deal by, going in and offering under ask. But if you're a seller or if you're a real estate professional listing a house, this is telling you very clearly that you want to list a little bit above what you really are hoping to sell the house for, because people are coming in expecting to get a deal. What's going to happen to mortgage rates? Everybody's like, oh, they're going to keep going up. No, pretty much the professionals are saying, if we've got our inflation under control, which it appears we do, mortgage rates will actually decline. So it's projected that by the end of 2023, the mortgage rates will be down around 5.2% for a 30-year mortgage. What this is going to do, because you will see this spring that, we've already seen mortgage rates start to drop a little bit. This spring, as the rates start to go down and they bump against that 5%, like 5.99 or 5.75, you will start to see a little bit of a frenzy in the marketplace because there's no inventory for sale. And people are thinking to themselves, well, we better get in and lock it in before the rates go up. So before we get into tonight's presentation, I am a deal maker. And so I wanted to share with you an opportunity that came my way. This is a limited opportunity for a few people or one or two people. There's a house that's being purchased for $1.785 and the rehab is $348,000. This buyer has already procured as-built appraisal. That means an appraiser says, if you build it according to your plans, on today's market, you should be able to sell it for $2.735. So that'll be about a $500,000 profit. In this, we're offering an opportunity if you want to invest and be a joint venture partner with us for $150,000. Returns with profit around $500,000 could be as high as 20%. Because there are limited opportunities to participate in this, I'm going to encourage you to text me directly. Don't email me, but text me. That is my personal cell phone. And let me know that you're interested in the JV opportunity. Now, here is a picture of what the appraisal looks like. So you can know that this was actually ordered by the lender and given to the lender, that they agree that that price is what it would be. And the way that this $348,000 is being used is adding on to the back of the house to extend a breakfast family room area. And this whole area here will become a downstairs master suite. This particular add-on will be less than 500 square feet. If you're familiar with Santa Clara County, you can add on anything less than 500 square feet with expedited permits. So this project will be done and back on the market between 9 and 12 months. So again, if this is something that interests you, please reach out and let's have a conversation. Also, as a deal maker, this is something I've been working on for a little while. I have the pleasure of creating a TV show. So this TV show is called Funding Face Off. It has not yet released. It will release soon. And so I'm going to encourage you to head out to the website, fundingfaceoff.com, and enter your information so we can invite you to the launch party. I'll give you a little bit of a preview of it, but essentially on Funding Face Off, this is where investors bring their deals. And in each show, we have 3 investors present their deals. And the deal makers, who you see here, we have 5 of them on each show, will decide who gets the funding. So the deal presenters face off and tell us, well, we'll give you 10%, we'll give you 20%. And they kind of bid against each other to make a better deal for us as the deal makers. So hopefully I can make this work here. And
we're giving real estate entrepreneurs.
Were you able to hear the audio?
Yes.
Okay.
From across the country, the chance to pitch their property investments to our panel of deal-making experts.
If your seller was willing to owner finance the deal to us.
Wait a second. We're going to make a deal right now?
Well, why not? That's what we're here for.
Okay.
This is Funding Face Off. First into the deal war room is real estate entrepreneur Mike.
So head out to fundingfaceoff.com, put your information in there so that we can invite you to the pre-launch party. And you'll get to see this before it airs. We're pretty excited about this. And because of the show, we will be getting a lot of opportunities coming our way. And so you'll want to stay connected if you're looking for deals. And without further ado, I want to welcome to our stage Peter Conti. Peter is a highly respected and experienced real estate investor. He's an author, a mentor, and he has broken down commercial property. What was the book called? I forgot. It was like a commercial real estate for dummies. He has made
Commercial Real Estate Investing for Dummies.
There you go.
260,000 copies.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, so he has made it so that we can all profit, low risk, high profit. He's been doing this for over 30 years. In addition to that, he runs the Boardroom Elite Mastermind, and he's an avid hiker. But like most of us, we would not necessarily think about hiking after a severe injury, but he did. And he has documented his revelations, his lessons, his inspirations in that in a book called Only When I Step on It, which I'm sure he will share a little bit more about that. And he and I were just talking a few minutes ago about how he wants to make that into a show, a movie. And so hopefully that'll get launched soon. So let's welcome to our stage, Peter.
Yay. Hey, everybody. Great to be here with you. I'd like to start out here. I'll get my screen going here. I got to do share. While I'm doing that, since we're going to be talking about commercial real estate, I'm curious. I'd like to know from those of you here, how many of you are like the idea of investing in commercial real estate? If you could put that in the chat. if some of you may just, if you love houses and you want to stick with houses, put that in. I'd just like to get kind of a feel for who we've got here. I do recognize some of the names here, so it's great to see some old friends here. Awesome. And let me switch to get going here, and then we'll put this up here. Awesome. Yeah. I've been involved in a lot of things over the years, and commercial real estate's been pretty good to me. Commercial real estate is, for a lot of people that I talk to, it's, they tell me, I realized with commercial real estate, it was something that I could put basically the same amount of effort into and end up making more money. Some people like commercial real estate because instead of having a lot of houses spread all over the place, they can have kind of everything all in one spot. And I've been lucky enough over the past 30 years to be involved in everything from multi-unit properties, shopping centers, mobile home parks, RV stuff. We've got a deal that I'm looking at today with my acquisition manager, which is a 20-unit motel that we're going to either convert to apartments or possibly run it for a few years and then maybe knock it over and then completely rebuild, put up a 4-story building. So commercial real estate is always fun, new, and exciting, and I'm happy to be here with you today. And my goal here today is to do a couple of things. I want to get into the meat of some of the things that we've been doing. I've been involved in a special project over the past, I guess, about 3.5 years, where I've been leading a small group of people called the Commercial Dream Partner Team, going out, looking for properties, acquiring them, either syndicating the deals, bringing in investors, which you're probably familiar with if you've been around this group very long, or there's other ways that we fund deals, owner carry financing. I'm going to share some examples of deals that were put together where totally with creative finance terms. And my goal is just to open up your eyes here to the wild, wonderful world of commercial real estate investing in the little bit of time that we have here tonight. I'm also going to be giving some fun homework. So make sure you take notes, and I'll make sure that I give you the ability to take this up to the next level, whether you really want to get serious about it or if you just want to take advantage of some of the free tools and handouts and things that I'm going to give you during the course of our talk here today. So here's my promise to you. Within the next hour, you're going to discover how to find, structure, and profit from commercial real estate deals with or without using your own money. As you'll see, I got started years ago without hardly any money at all. I actually had $1,500 in the bank. And at this point in time, I work with people who are starting out just like I did without very much money. And I also work with investors on the other side of things where they have many, many millions of dollars and they kind of have a different problem at that point in time. We'll talk about that. So you're going to learn how to remove your biggest obstacles, how to stop doing things the old-fashioned way, how to start using new tools and automation. That's really a big, big thing. And I think a big key of this talk, if you get nothing else out of it, is hopefully we'll open your eyes up to see how commercial investing has changed over time from things that we used to do with the old shoe leather express now can be done using some simple tools, automation, and online stuff that just really is pretty cool. And the goal is to get out there hopefully and get you started doing some bigger commercial deals right away. Now, this is for you if you're just starting out and want to work from home without having to call or talk to anyone. That's the cool part about some of this automation, is you can have the automation do things, so you don't have to make cold calls or deal with brokers who might drill you on who are you and how many properties do you own and what are you getting started with. People like Beata, she's a mom at home with a new baby. Her and her partner here, they wanted the quicker path, a safer path, but they didn't want to try to figure all this stuff out on their own, right? So they actually bought this 17-unit property. This is in Pennsylvania, and this was their first commercial property. I talked to Beata a little bit ago, and they are just doing excellent. Here's the sellers who are real happy with the deal. And despite the fact that I had snuck a little clause in there that got the sellers to pay for the title policy, which normally in Pennsylvania, the buyer pays for it. But we like to use contracts and things that work out to our advantage. Anyways, so if you're looking for a framework to help you move up maybe from houses into commercial properties, I work with a lot of clients in that framework over the years. Many of them have done wholesaling or flipped houses or done some rentals or Airbnb type stuff, and they're just ready to move up kind of the next level. People like Mike Wilson, he says, just a quick note to say thanks again for all your help. I'm sending you a copy of a check for $62,383 for my closing. All said and done, we netted about $43,000. That's after paying his expenses. Not bad for 5 weeks work, Mike Wilson. So this is for you if you've done some investing maybe and you're ready to step up to larger commercial deals. Now, as I mentioned, I've been involved I started this, well, I did some stuff with just a few people. I was doing it initially one-on-one back in like 2019, second half of 2018. And then right before the pandemic started, I started this thing called the Commercial Dream Partner Team. And it's been a fun ride. I've been involved right at the front lines, working directly with my clients. And as a result of that, a lot of the things, some of the tools, automation, and things that I'm going to share with you today are a result of us out there, not only buying deals, but looking for ways to set up processes, systems, automation to really streamline the process. And that's how the business has changed over time, as you'll see here today. Now, here's what I found out in the course of putting that group together, which originally was designed more to work with someone maybe who's just first getting started. I mean, I'll share my story here in just a moment, but I started out as an auto mechanic and I kind of have a real passion and a heart to help other people maybe who don't have a lot of money to get started investing in commercial. In the course of doing deals and working with clients, I found out that I naturally attracted kind of people on the other side where they had already achieved success, either in commercial real estate, or some of them have built up online businesses and sold them, that type of thing. People like accredited investors that have capital to invest, but actually have very little time to find, analyze, and structure deals. People like experienced commercial investors that they know what they're doing, but they need connections, relationships, and most of all, deal flow. They know how to do deals. They just need people out there that can maybe help them find more deals. And people that I put in what I call the get out of my way category, right? Investors who they know they're going to the top and they just want to do it fast. And they want to find a way to fast track that. So basically what I ended up doing, is I meet people and these are people that I call in my boardroom elite mastermind clients, people like Mike Graves. He picked up this Highland Oaks in Oklahoma City. This was a private money syndication. Mike currently has 1.1 million in equity in this, plus the cash flow from the property. And it was interesting to have these, two different groups. Now, some people are obviously not in, all on one side or on the other. Some people are more kind of in the middle, right? But what all these folks have in common is they wanted the quicker path, a safer path, but they didn't want to try and figure all this stuff out on their own, whether they were first getting started or they were facing some of the challenges that I find I don't want to call them higher level. We're all at the same level, right? But maybe someone who has challenges of having lots of money, but not enough time to know where to invest it. And so I basically have these two groups, the boardroom and then the commercial dream partners. The dream partners tend to be people from all levels, but a lot of them are interested in being active investors. They want to hustle. They want to know how to find deals, analyzing them, how to put the funding together, whether using some of the creative methods we're going to be talking about here tonight, or putting together a simple syndication and bringing in outside investors. And then on the other hand, I work with people at the boardroom, elite mastermind level, again, that are accredited investors, other people that have made money, people that want to be working at a higher level, create the connections. Maybe they've got capital to put into deals. And it's been a fun way to be able to put this all together and kind of work. I look at myself as sort of the conductor of the orchestra, where you'll see examples of different people where I connected them, put them together, helped them put together a JV or a partnership, where sometimes people from either side can come together. And the fun part of it, I keep coming back to this, is the tools, software, and the automation that kind of makes all of this work together. So that's a kind of a big picture of what we're going through here today. Now, this is not obviously for anyone looking for overnight results. I don't have a magic wand that can just wave and make, a cash flowing property fall into your lap, unfortunately. This isn't for someone who's not willing to put in the work and effort it takes to get going. I find particularly if you're going to do anything new and get it going, it takes extra additional effort in the beginning to get it going. And then anyone who's not willing to invest in their success, obviously this is not for them. Housekeeping wise, this isn't get rich quick. You'll see profits from actual case studies of my deals from clients that I've done and that my clients have done. These examples are not at all typical, as these are extraordinary people who are willing to do whatever it takes to succeed. I found that the average person out there, they may attend a training or get a course, but they end up making nothing because they don't apply what they learned by taking action. So my background real quick, I was working as an auto mechanic. My claim to fame is that I was able to go from auto mechanic to millionaire in 3.5 years. As mentioned earlier, I am the co-author of Commercial Real Estate Investing for Dummies. And by the way, this is the 2022 version. There's a new version that just came out, the 2023 version with a slightly different cover, where we went through, completely updated it, put in some of the new stuff that's going on, and along with a bunch of other stuff in there. So that was a lot of fun. Wiley's been a great publisher to work with. I've been investing in commercial real estate since 1990, and I'm known as the nation's top commercial consultant. I've helped thousands of successful clients over the years. So it's interesting. Life rolls along, and I actually learned this from one of my early mentors. His name is Tony Robbins. Maybe you've heard of him. He says that all change happens in a moment. And I was working in an auto repair shop. I was living in Colorado at the time. It was pretty cold. I was back there in the shop. I'd only been working there for a couple of weeks. My fingers were getting cold. Just, trying to get, I think the owner was saving money, keeping the heat down back in the shop. And Chuck, the shop foreman, came out of the front office holding this big, hot, steaming cup of hot coffee. I didn't know they had coffee up there. I grabbed a mug out of my toolbox, walked up front, poured myself a nice big mug of hot coffee, thinking, wow, this is going to be so nice, and just wrap my hands around it to warm them up more than anything else. And just then the owner walks over, and you know what he said to me? He said, "Peter, that coffee is for customers only. What do you think you're doing?" I couldn't believe it. I felt like 2 inches tall, but you know what? It was right at that moment that I decided. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I decided at that moment, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be in charge of my financial future. And as part of that process, I learned that I had to change my thoughts. This is a tape program. This one's actually by Jay Abraham. I don't know if any of you have heard of him, but I remember when I got this tape program, and just the program, just for 6 audio cassettes. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like I don't know, an old version of an MP3. And it, the thing was close to $100. And I thought, I can't afford that just for 6 audio tapes. I can't afford that. And then I thought about it for a day or two, and I realized that, well, I can't afford it as the person I am now as an auto mechanic, but the person that I want to become most certainly can afford this. And I went ahead and ordered it because I knew if I was going to change my life, I'd have to change my thoughts. Now, I've got 3 secrets I'm going to go through here today with you. Secret number 1, how to get the best assistant on planet Earth to locate cash flowing commercial properties 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without ever complaining, asking for a raise, or taking a break. Secret number 2, one weird trick that uncovers a commercial seller's motivation while saving you thousands of hours of wasted time. And secret number 3, how to take commercial deals from contract to closing, even if you've never done it before, are short on time, and don't know any investors. So let's jump right into secret number 1, how to get the best assistant on planet Earth to locate cash flowing commercial properties 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for you. Now, I've done a lot of things right. One of the things I realized right away when I first got going is that there's probably lots of people who decide that they're going to do something like either investing in houses or investing in commercial real estate, and they never get out there and get their first deal done. So I realized I was going to do whatever it took to get my first deal done. And I found this duplex. It was a special HUD, 5% down for investors at the time. I managed to scrape that money together. I had no idea if it was a good deal or not. I was literally clueless. I had no idea how to do comps, how to do an income formula. I didn't know if it was a good deal or not. All I knew was the realtor said, Peter, this is a good deal. You should buy it. I knew that I had to just get out there and kind of jump in the pool and start swimming. Otherwise, I didn't want to be like one of these people that, I don't know if you've ever met anyone like this. You meet them at a seminar or something, and they've spent, whatever, $45,000 on training for every single one of the courses that one of these gurus has. And you ask them what kind of properties they bought and they haven't bought one yet. So I didn't want to be that person. I was actually physically so freaked out at the closing. I knew I really wanted to do it, but I was really scared of making a mistake too. I was physically shaking, and Don, the realtor, reached over and patted me on the back and said, Peter, take a deep breath. It's going to be all right. But I took action, and that's what it boils down to. And you're going to hear that today, and I'm going to make it very easy for you to take action, including some very simple free things you can do right away to get started, getting out there, not only learning more about commercial real estate, but some tools that I'm going to give you here where you can actually get out there and use them to potentially find a great deal. So I did a lot of things right. I also did a lot of things wrong. One of the things I did wrong was, well, I did realize that I needed to get some help, but I found a mentor. He owned at the time, I think, over 1,000 apartment units. His name was Keith. And I said, great, Keith, I know I need some help. What's it going to cost to work with you? And it was like $5,000. Now, to an auto mechanic who's making about 20 to, I think 24,000 was my very best year ever as an auto mechanic. $5,000 is a lot of money. That's, 4 months worth of income, getting up at 5:30 every single morning. That just seemed again, kind of like the audio tapes. Well, I said, well, I can't afford that. Right. And so I decided to do it the hard way. Right. I'll just do it on my own. I've got this one property. I'm sure I can figure it out the rest of the way. The problem was, the more I learned about commercial real estate, the more I learned that there was to know about commercial real estate, and just the more things I worried about getting wrong. I was out there looking at deals, but not making offers, right? I was, let's see what I'm clicking on here to keep this going. Here we go. Listening to podcasts, but never doing anything. I'd watch, the equivalent back then of YouTube. I'd get excited, but never do anything. And basically, watching webinars, buying courses, doing that, but really never doing anything, right? I would look at stuff. I'd be worried. I didn't know, how to value it. If I did make an offer, I'd make such a low offer that it was never accepted. And, what happens if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have people around you who've done it before? Always searching, always reading the next article, always listening to another podcast, always searching YouTube and watching videos. Can any of you relate to this? That's the spot I was in. Now, the technology was a little different back then, but that's definitely, I was in what I call the getting into information gathering mode, which is basically a mode where you don't take any action, right? After 8 months with no deal, something interesting happened. I was meeting with Dan. This isn't a picture of him, obviously. I got this off the internet somewhere, but it was Dan, my insurance broker, was meeting with me to basically talk me into getting the switch from a term policy to a whole life policy, right? He wanted me to basically invest my money into the life insurance company. He's asking me these questions like, do you care about your family? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course I do. How are you going to take care of them? Well, I'm a real estate investor, right? And then he kind of did the Dr. Phil thing. He said, well, how's that going for you? Now, this was, get this, this was 8 months after I bought that first duplex, guess how many properties I bought during that 8-month period of time? Absolutely zero. And I kind of recognized right when I was talking to Dan, I realized that I was spinning my wheels. I knew I needed to do something different. I reached out and I finally stopped trying to do everything all by myself. I got a hold of Keith. I said, Keith, I'm ready to get going. I'll pay you your fee. I want you to be my mentor. Work with me. Show me how to get over these obstacles that are in my way. And Keith worked with me, got me started over those obstacles. I've had lots of other mentors over the years that have helped me along the way. And I found and discovered at that point in time that my stubborn part of me that wanted to try and do things all by itself wasn't the smartest way to get ahead in life. So when you do have a solid game plan, and when you're surrounded by people who know what they're doing, who've done what you want to do, they have the proof, they have the receipts to show for it, right? Then you wake up every day and instead of listening to 3 podcasts, you're actually making offers on 3 properties, right? Where one of them alone could replace your current salary. How cool is that? So that's what life starts looking like when you get this figured out. Let me tell you how I discovered this the hard way, and you get to cheat and get the easy way. I obviously went to the school of hard knocks, and one of the things I did that seemed to make sense at the time was let's start a property management company, right? And this seemed like a great idea. I won't go into all the details so we can stay on time here this evening, but I thought having a property management company would be good. Have a more turnaround crew. I could make some extra income, get some leads on properties. It ended up not working out for me. People whose properties I managed anyways didn't believe in providing safe, clean, affordable housing the way I did. I ended up having the tenants unhappy with me, the owners unhappy. It was kind of just a real mess, right? But what it did lead to is when I had that property management company, one of the things that I learned to do anytime I had a new client was we would go around and do what's known as a rent survey. And in doing rent surveys, they're real simple to do. You can just go around. There's some simpler ways I'll show you here. You can do them online these days. But one of the ways to do it is actually just go around, knock on the doors and ask people what they're paying in rent for whatever the unit size that you're looking at. If it's 2-bedroom units, you go around, knock on the doors, ask them how big their unit is, what they're paying, what their neighbors are paying. And what I discovered was very interesting. I found that every time we did a rent survey, we would find what I call these lazy landlord, lazy landlady properties, right? Where you would think that everyone would know what the market rents are and keep their rents right up there to create the most income and keep the value of their property up. And what I found is that we would always find these properties where they were not that much different. Now, some of them were a little run down. I mean, some of these properties, they just kept the rents low and never raised them. And the tenants never bothered them because they didn't want their rent raised. But I found that these are ideal properties to target because if you can find a property where the rents are low, buy it more or less based upon those lower rents, then it's an excellent opportunity where you can go in, increase the rents to market rates, and dramatically increase not only the cash flow from the property, but through the way these commercial properties are valued, you can dramatically increase the value of the property as well when you find the right property through a rent survey. Here's an example of one of them here. This is a 24-unit apartment building. The owner was 88 years old. We found that she had a need. She had a problem, right? You're going to find with deals like this one is one that we've financed with creative financing, as you'll see. You can't go out and just find a property on loopnet.com and no problems. If the property is fully leased up, no issues at all. You can't just go out there and put together a creative deal. Creative deals work best with properties with problems, people with problems. In this case, the owner was 88 years old. I was actually talking to her daughter-in-law and her son. She had Alzheimer's and needed to go into nursing home care. She needed $3,000 a month, but the property was only netting $2,000 a month. Now, I looked closely at 2 years worth of accounting, and I saw that the property management fees and other costs they were really soaking the owner pretty badly on this, to the tune of about $1,000 a month. And so I came up with a simple solution here. I think you can probably guess what that is. if I could get the property to, if I could manage it myself to get started, I could get the property to net the $3,000 a month that Corrine needed. And what we did is we went in and structured this as a commercial master lease. Now, commercial master lease is where you lease the entire property. You agree to pay a payment. In this case, we agreed to pay $3,000 a month because that's what Corrine needed. We were in charge of collecting all the rents, paying all the expenses. There weren't any loans against the property. It was free and clear. That made it fairly simple. And then we got to work on the property. The rents were $85 below market, which doesn't sound like a lot. But when you look at that with a commercial master lease, we structured it where our first lease payment was due on the 15th. We took over the property on the 1st. That made it very simple to go in, collect the rents, and we used the tenant's rents from Corrine's property to make the first lease payment on Corrine's property here. We went in and increased the rents. We didn't do it all in 1 month. We didn't want to have a mutiny. We did it spread over 3 months. They were all in month to month, so we didn't have any leases that we needed to abide by, which was helpful. We were nice. We gave them a little letter that said, hey, thanks for being a great tenant all this time. Sorry, your rents are going up. We'll paint one of your rooms, clean your carpets, or give you the services of our handy person for half a day because we love you so much. About half of them said, I don't know what you're doing. I've been paying this rent for whatever, 10 years. I'm not going to pay a penny more. We're like, great. Let me open the door. You can move out, get your stuff out of here. And then we went in and increased the rents, actually all the way up to market value. For the existing tenants, we took them about 75% up to market value. The net effect of doing this was that we were able to, on average, increase the cash flow in the property by $85 per unit, which works out to $2,040 per month, which when you look at that annually, works out to $24,480. Now, I don't know if you remember when we first took over the property at the $3,000 that was going to Corrine, the property was break even. So we took it over break even with no money going to the owner of the property up front. When you structure a commercial master lease the right way, you can do it like that. And now we've got this in round numbers, $25,000 coming in, which is a nice cash flow from a property that you didn't put any money into up front. The other nice thing about this is when you structure a deal like this, it basically, we won't jump into the math here because I don't want to complicate things, but it makes the property worth, in this case, $214,000 more in round numbers. Now, when you have the ability to get a property and increase the value by that much, you have two choices. You could take that deal, and after increasing the value, you could turn around and basically, because you've made it worth $214,000 more, you could very easily take this and wholesale it, which is something that many of my clients, that is their primary target. If they get started in commercial real estate, they want to get out there, they want to wholesale a couple properties, make some quick cash, then they can use that to whatever, pay off some bills, get caught up, maybe use it as down payments for some of the other properties that they buy. In this case, I didn't want to do that. I ended up keeping it, and I sold it 10 years later for $1.1 million over the loan balance, which made this a very nice nothing down deal. So now finding properties like this, I've talked about one way, the old way, doing a rent survey, going around knocking on doors. And I personally made an untold number of cold calls, sent thousands of postcards and letters, and personally negotiated hundreds of commercial real estate deals. Fortunately, there's some new tools and automation that make it much easier. One of the tools that I find that most all of my clients like to use is called Commercial Deal Finder. We used to use one, some of you may be familiar with it. PropStream is one that we used to use. PropStream wasn't focused on commercial, and it didn't seem to get us as good of a data stream. I don't know what their sources are as Commercial Deal Finder does. And then we've used another one called Reonomy.com. Reonomy actually has really pretty good data, but their prices are also just crazy. It's like $4,000 a year for Reonomy. So Commercial Deal Finder, I'm just going to jump in here real quick and show you how we use it. We do something known as data stacking. You can go in, For example, here you can put city, county, state, zip code, any area that you want it. This will search millions of properties all across the entire United States. If I put in Harris County, which is basically Houston area, it pulls up 137,000 some commercial properties. That's way too many to market to. And that's a mistake a lot of people make when they start doing direct marketing, is they want to like send letters out to everybody. So instead, what you do is you can go in here and you can pull up all different lead types. You can see all the different cash buyers, delinquent, foreclosure, high equity, low equity, upside down. The ones that I like the delinquent tax activity. That shows us that at some point in time over the past 36 months, they've gotten a delinquent tax notice. I like the free and clear properties. Free and clear is great, just like that one of Corrine's. If someone doesn't own anything on it, they probably owned it for a long time. They've got lots of flexibility. They could carry the financing. They could do a commercial master lease. They could work out a great deal with you. I also like the potentially inherited properties as well, simply because I found that sometimes when the kids inherit a property, they don't want to be in the real estate business like mom or dad were. And they would just like to get the money out of the property. Oftentimes, they're very eager to sell, oftentimes at a great discount. So the problem is, with the data stacking, the way to really do it, now you can check these and just get everything in delinquent, everything in free and clear, everything in potentially inherited. If you do it that way, I think it was, I don't know, 2,200 properties, something like that when I searched it. When you check down here at the bottom where it says must match all selected, that's where you get the data stacking. It's showing here 66 properties that have had a delinquent notice, are free and clear, and are also in the potentially inherited bucket. And the nice thing about the data stacking is that really drills in on the deals, the properties that are most likely to be a property with a problem, a person with a problem, something that you could work, maybe something with our creative financing, or just get it at a great price and syndicate the deal. The problem is 66 is, in my opinion, too small of a number. You know, you don't want 137,000 to go after, but you don't want to be going after, you know, just 5 or 10 properties either. So what I found is sometimes you have to go in and make adjustments. In this case, I deselected the delinquent tax activity. I'm willing to give up the tax notice if I can pinpoint something that is free and clear, or something that's potentially inherited. In this case, it gave us 326. And then in this software, I won't go into it here, but there's ways that you can go in here. You can send out direct mail, skip trace, load your list, all of that type of stuff you can do in there. Other software that we use, Rent-A-Meter is a great tool. Rent-A-Meter scrapes rental listings. If you're in the rental market with houses, you probably already know about that. We use it with apartments to see what other people are paying for 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms, in much the same way that we used to go out and knock on doors and do rent surveys. You can do it now online through Rent-A-Meter. You can get similar information for free on apartments.com. So that's kind of a backup site that a lot of us will look at to be able to know what other people are paying for rent for other similar apartments. And what we're looking for is what is someone else paying for an apartment that looks similar to the ones in the subject property that we're evaluating. If we can see that other people are paying $100, $200 more per month, that is a great sign, right? So another software that we use, this is not something that's currently open to the public, but we use it in our commercial dream partner team and also in our boardroom. It's called Commercial Investor Pro. It's basically, you put the leads in, it sends out emails, texts, and ringless voicemail. When someone responds through either one of those 3 methods, it's basically set up using some AI technology where 24 hours a day, it can read what they respond back. Like if they say, go take a hike or stop, it immediately stops texting them, right? So not to annoy them. If they say, yes, I'd like more information, it can wait 5 minutes and then reply back and say, great, why don't we set up a quick phone call? Then it basically sends them a link to a Calendly type link, puts them on your calendar so that the software is out there basically looking for leads, booking appointments for you so that rather than coming and opening up your computer and realizing you've got to start from scratch, you can look at your calendar and realize that you've got 2 appointments that afternoon with people who own commercial properties who want to talk to you about selling them. So it's really cool the way the software is helping that out. Secret number 2 is this one weird trick that uncovers a commercial seller's motivation while saving you thousands of hours of wasted time. And this trick actually we started this out. This is Jenny and Roger here. This is SJREI Village Shopping Center, and this property came about by basically getting out there, and rather than spending a lot of time doing a whole ton of analysis and negotiating, came from basically using this trick, which is being able to quickly knock out offers, and then just based upon the seller's response to the offer, it lets you know, is that the right person that you'd spend more time talking to, negotiating further, and putting a good deal in place. And so anyways, the SJREI Village Shopping Center was a good example of where I connected Jenny with Roger and a few other people that were working with me as clients. They got into a team where they went out, actually called Grasslands. They ended up buying, last I'd heard, $70 million in assets as a result of getting started. Because they were clients of mine, I was able to encourage them to work together, which is what I've continued to do today, right? I'm kind of the conductor, right? I find people, I encourage them to get started. I find people kind of on one side with money, people on the other side that can find deals, put them together, and we all have a lot of fun seeing what comes out of that. So the way that this has progressed over time is what we did to develop some of the software is we looked at basically the process that I would go through if I was sitting down with a client, say over a cup of coffee, looking at a deal. What would I look at? What were the questions I would ask? How would I respond to that? What suggestions would I make? And this is how we've been able to streamline things so that clients are able to very quickly get online, input some information, and have the software tell them what to do. Here's the type of strategy that you should use. Here's the offer that you should make. It even knocks out offers contracts. So basically you put the information, it tells you what to do. We did this years ago before we had the new automation where basically we would have pre-printed, pre-signed purchase agreements. And you'd have someone that you would hire on your staff that you would call them on the phone or send them a page or whatever to write up a contract for such and such property address. They would put the property information in, fill out the other stuff, obviously the seller's name, the broker, that type of thing, send that offer out. And it was a way to automate the delivery of getting those offers out quickly, where it didn't take a lot of your time as the investor. These days, it's all done inside of the software. The result of this is that you're able to get going doing this. In fact, I'm going to give you the chance to try some of this out here, as I promised. But you're able to use a system where you can initially use some analysis tools to quickly look at a deal. The analysis tool will tell you what the property is worth, what exactly the amount is to price your offer based on current market conditions. And you fill in a couple blanks. It knocks out a pre-filled out PDF contract that you can send out. Once you get it down, it's not very hard at all. I've got a lot of my clients that once they spend a little bit of time doing this, they hire a VA to go through and do the same thing for them and just send these offers out on a regular basis without putting hardly any of their own time into it upfront anyways, right? The offers go out and then we see what the result is, right? Someone might not respond at all. They could decline the offer. They could come back with a big price drop. That's a good indication that that's someone who's motivated. You want to spend time negotiating, digging deeper into the details on that one. Or they, on a rare occasion, they say, yeah, we'll take your low offer. It doesn't happen that often, but we love it when that happens. And what I found is the ones that don't respond or decline your offer, if you can basically have a system set up to where you can follow up automatically in 3 months, don't send them a higher offer, send them the same low offer again. And over time, it's kind of a numbers game that you're playing, right? If someone has to sell their property, they need to get it done. They're going to reach back out to you. You're going to be talking to them. If someone isn't in a hurry, you know what? Things change over time. We find that the medical issues come up. People get into situations where they suddenly need to do something with their property. If Peter's the one that's been sending them an offer every 3 months for the past year and a half, you know what? They're going to reach out. They're going to get in touch with you, and you're going to be the one buyer on the deal versus getting into a competitive market like some of these other properties out there that you see. Now, one of the ways that you can do this is I've created a 5-day challenge. There's no charge whatsoever for this. And this is basically what it's laid out. This is laid out where it's about a half hour each day. And I give you about another half hour of homework. So it's going to take you anywhere from maybe 45 minutes to an hour each day to do this. When you go here and get started with this, it'll get started right away. I've actually got it set up where if you start today, it'll start it tomorrow. Or if you want to wait a day or two before you start it, you could do that. I would not wait much longer than that, because if you say you're going to do something someday, you know what? Someday never comes. So here's what you'll learn when you go through the free 5-day commercial property challenge. How to find commercial deals that make sense on day 1. Day 2, how to analyze commercial properties made really simple. You're going to use some simple tools and automation that I've developed that show you exactly how to do that. Day 3, simple contracts and clauses you can use to stay safe. Day 4, 5 steps to getting your commercial offers accepted. And day 5, how to get the funding you need to close your deals. So the pricing on this is right. It's free. There's a QR code there for you. And that URL, realestate101.com/challenge. I do believe it needs to be all lowercase challenge there, realestate101.com/challenge. Or there's that QR code. I will leave that up there for another 5 or 10 seconds. Maybe, I don't know, Lori or your assistant, maybe if you could put that URL into the chat.
I'm working on it.
Awesome. And I'm going to keep moving on here. But it's a ton of fun. I have had people tell me that they've gotten more out of my free 5-day challenge than other commercial courses that they spent $2,000 taking. And when I designed this challenge, my goal was, could I quickly and easily show someone who doesn't have any experience in commercial real estate how to get out there and show them how to find, analyze, and make offers on commercial properties to get accepted. And I will let you know, I succeeded in the challenge. This is actually version 2.0, where I've streamlined it, improved it. I know you'll have a lot of fun with that. That's my free gift to you for being here with us today. So secret number 3, how to take commercial deals from contract to closing, even if you've never done it before, are short in time and don't know any investors. Now, early on when I was investing, I got into situations where it's just very uncomfortable for me. For example, I went out on this 18-unit apartment. I'd said, hey, I'll pay cash. I'm the money guy. I was driving an old Buick Skylark like this. I was concerned when I pulled up because in the parking lot in front of the apartment building, there was only a couple cars there. I thought, this car doesn't look like the money guy would be driving, right? It wasn't my cash, right? It's like, I'll pay cash and then I was going to get the money from other investors or whatever. So I actually parked my car down the street thinking that would be a good idea. That worked out great until when I was talking to there's a family there, 4 or 5 of them, was making really good progress. I didn't have it signed up yet, but I had a good connection, rapport going. The guy gets up and says, here, I'll walk you out. We walk outside. He looks around. At that point, there were 0 cars in the parking lot. And he goes, where's your car? And I did not have a good answer to that question. I didn't know how to answer it. What was I going to say? I parked it down the street. I looked at him and said, I don't know. I never called him back. I was so embarrassed. So that's partly why I have a passion for helping people get started, maybe who were starting out like I was. I mean, I had $1,500 in the bank when I first got started investing in commercial real estate. I know exactly what that's like. I also know, interestingly enough, I never would have predicted it at the time. I mean, you think, hey, I'm going to go get commercial properties. I'm going to have all this passive income and assets, and life's going to be perfect and great, right? Here's the little known success secret. I've found that on the other side of success, there's this area where you can have plenty of money, but very little time. I can't tell you how frustrating it is to have, it wasn't too long ago, I had a $3 million property that I just didn't have the time to even go look at it or hire a property manager or do anything. And it just sat there vacant for like 4 months with nothing going on, just because I didn't have time to do anything with it. I'd kind of fallen into this other side of things. I found that, many of the clients, not all of them, but people that I work with who have had a lot of success, people like one client of mine, he had sold his online business. He had $18 million to invest in deals. They tend to have very little time, but plenty of money. Fortunately for me, I'm, again, like the conductor of the orchestra. I'm in a position where I can sometimes help put these deals together, put people together, match up the money with the deals, and it just works out really fun for everyone involved. So the key is to join the right investing network or team that's already doing it. All of you here, you're members of the SJ Real Estate Investing Group, which is an awesome group to be a part of. Lori does a great job running the group. She definitely knows what she's doing. It's really exciting, some of the fun TV stuff and things that she's putting together, and you're in a great group here. I found that in the right group, the couple of groups that I lead, the Commercial Dream Partner Team and the Boardroom Elite Mastermind, it's all about wherever you are in that spectrum, finding deals, finding a way to meet the right people, put together joint ventures, hopefully where you can split the profits, where it's fair for everyone, make connections, surrounding yourself with plenty of winners, and hopefully get something where you've got a whale by the tail. You can say, what do I do now? Like Nate Bialik did here with the Palm Park Apartments. This is in Raleigh, North Carolina. He got a 322 unit deal, it was 40% vacant. I helped him buy it for $6.5 million, helped him line up 2 investors who brought in the money to purchase the property. It was a little bit of a creative deal. We took over the existing financing and brought in some money to close it and to fix it up. He ended up selling it for $9.5 million 13 months later and rolled it into a bunch of office buildings. So the question I have for you here today is just how many deals like this is it going to take for you to be set for life? And my saying is, all it takes is just one good-sized commercial deal for you to be set for life. Nate, I've kept in touch with him like I have with many of my clients. He's gone on to do over $80 million in deals. Recently, when I talked to him, he just put together a deal with Trader Joe's that was a triple net lease deal that he was real excited about. And there's my saying, right? Just one good-sized commercial deal away from being set for life. Now, you have 2 choices here. I totally get it. Your first option is to do nothing and not take this next step. And nothing's going to change, obviously, if you don't do something to change it, right? The other thing that you can do is you can take the second option, which is to apply to join my team and start doing big commercial deals with me. The way you do that is you simply go to realestate101.com/Lori. I'm pretty sure we've got that set up where it'll work with a capital L or a lowercase l. If it doesn't work with one, you can try the other. And we also have the QR code where you can just put your smartphone on there and pull up the QR code, click on that. You'll see a page simply like this where you put your name and your email in. You click. It's very simple. It's just going to pull up a calendar. You're going to pick a time on the calendar to connect with my team, and then we can talk to you further about where you are in the spectrum. Are you someone who's just getting started? Are you someone who's got a lot of capital? Would you be more applicable towards the Commercial Dream Partner team or the boardroom? And does it sound like we have a good fit to be working together? Do the things we do, the bringing people together, the access to the tools, the automation, the ability for me to help you go through and vet your deals, does that make sense for us to be working together or not? And in many cases, it doesn't. We're pretty selective about who we take on. And part of the reason for that, as you'll see in just a moment, is that I dramatically changed my business as a result of an injury that happened to me in hiking the Appalachian Trail, where I decided to work exclusively with a very small group of people rather than being, like many of these gurus out there where there's, they have so many clients, they don't know who they are. As I mentioned, we'd want to meet with you on the phone or do a Zoom call together. We need to make sure you're a good fit with the other team members. This is going to benefit you. We really take a personalized custom look at where you are in the process right now. So if you do end up working with us, there's a few perks, obviously framework and systems, training stuff. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. The Commercial Investor Pro software I've already talked about. You have access to that. Something called Property Advisor Plus, which is a software we use to analyze deals. There's live Zoom calls each week where you hop on the call. You get help from your mentor. I do most of these calls currently. So there's a good chance that I would be on those calls with you. We also have like a tech call every week with Anthony, who's in charge of software. We want the software to be something that's helpful to you, easy to get started. We don't want it to be an obstacle if you're not familiar with it, which is why we have a tech call where not only is everything all templated out in there, including having your own website and all your own marketing campaigns, email, text, ringless voicemail, all that's pre-recorded for you and done for you. But we have someone live who can help you get your data loaded in and get your marketing going to press start with that. So the boardroom mastermind, that is people, as I mentioned before, that want to go faster, typically working up at a higher level. Some of them have had success, like Eric here. He's from Merced, California. He had worked as a manager running car dealerships for his father-in-law. He wanted to get started in commercial. We found this 19,000 square foot property here that was part retail, part restaurant on one end and office on the other. And we bought it, got it under contract for $840,000, got a repair allowance for a good sized discount on that brought it down to $800,000. Last time I talked to him, he was refinancing the property, bought it for $800,000. Oh, by the way, we structured it where we used it was sort of a quasi hard money lender that gave him the money to buy it and fix it up with no payments for the first year. And when I talked to him, he had it most of the way leased up and he was refinancing it for $2.2 million and he bought it for $800,000. So I think I have those numbers here. Yep. Was bank owned when he got it. Was previously under contract for $1.2 million. We got it for $800,000. 840 less 40. All right. There's something called the forum that we use. The forum ties in with our software. So when you analyze a deal, all of that deal information goes right into the forum where we can respond to you, take a look at the deal, look at the numbers with you, tell you where you are in your analysis, how to negotiate it, contracts, forms, addendums, all that stuff. We help you put that together. Deals that we've done on the forum. This is a good example of one. This is Hector. Hector found this 10-unit strip center in Sierra Madre, which many of you know is in Southern California. At the time, it was worth $3.9 million. We got it under contract for $2.7 million. We actually used a hard money loan to pay off a first that was going into foreclosure. And then we got the seller to get this. The seller carried back all the rest of the financing. So it was a nothing down deal going into it. And Hector did a good job going in, fixed some leaks in the roof, got a couple of the units that were empty leased out. And at this point in time, he currently has this property listed for over $6 million. So we don't hold back from going after the bigger deals. If you're going to do commercial properties, why not do something big? In the boardroom, we also do a once-a-year live mastermind. The dates for this, if you want to make a note of those or write them down, this will be at my house in Annapolis, Maryland. We live in Florida and we have this house in Maryland. It'll be June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. This is my son flying the drone right out back. This was about 5 minutes before I took my turn and crashed it and broke it. So, but nice view there, nice property. And it's big enough to hold a small group of us for our Boardroom Elite Live Mastermind that we're going to have together. And I'm super excited about that coming up. This is another one of Hector's deals. This was a 20-unit property, again, Southern California. He bought it for $1.45 million, refinanced out of the property at $3 million. Again, to get started, just go to realestate101.com/Lori, or you can scan the QR code there. Now, everything can change in a moment. And this is something that, you know, people tell you, you need to be prepared for the things that you don't know are going to happen. But it happens when you least expect it. Things were going along. I had this big company. I used to travel around the country doing seminars. There were 300-400 people a weekend there. I had 35 employees, 17 coaches working for me. And then, bam, life changed in a second. I was actually running marathons. I should have stayed off a motorcycle. It was actually a dirt bike motorcycle. I should have listened to my wife. I ended up getting, you know, seriously injured, shattered my hip, dislocated my femur. And unfortunately, when they were working on me in the hospital, they crushed the nerve in my leg when they put the femur back into the broken hip. And you talk about tickling, it really, it hurt quite bad. I was in chronic pain on OxyContin for 18 months, if you can imagine that. 2 different doctors told me I'd never walk again. I told them, you know, well, I didn't say it out loud, but I kind of said, screw you, or actually a different word under my breath to them, and said, I'm going to figure out a way to make this work. And somehow I figured out that if somehow, now at this point in time, I was having a hard time getting out the door, walking my dog, much less going anywhere, right? I somehow said, you know what, I'm going to hike the Appalachian Trail. If I hike over 2,000 miles on the Appalachian Trail, my leg would have to be healed. And so 3 weeks later, I went down to Springer Mountain in Georgia, got started, did 2.5 miles the first day, and kind of went from there. It was quite a journey. It took me actually 11 months, spread over a year and a half. Takes most people about 4 or 5 months. I was obviously moving much slower and figure out my own pathway and system for doing it. And along the way, I had plenty of time to think about it. I got to reflect on my business model instead of being so busy just running things the way people had already told me to, which is, you know, outsource, delegate, don't do anything yourself. I realized that I was really missing out on the best part of doing deals, which was 2 things. I remembered when I was mentoring people in the early days, how enjoyable that was. I also missed the personal transformation of seeing people get started. And I really missed the relationships. I mean, I'd outsourced everything where I wasn't in touch with my clients, and it always felt off to me, but I never had time to figure it out. So what I did while I was hiking through the wilderness was a couple of things. Number one, I came up with this idea for the Commercial Dream Partner team, which kind of launched all of this and led to me forming the Boardroom Mastermind as well. And I want to let you know, if we do have the opportunity to work together, that I'm your mentor, I'm your guide, and I'll be with you every step of the way. It also resulted in this book right here, which I'm pretty excited about. Lori mentioned it. I do hope to turn it into a movie someday. I've got over 900 reviews on Amazon, which I'm really excited about. It's been a bestseller on Amazon for most, not every single month, but probably 10 out of the 12 to 13 months that it's been published. It's been a bestseller on Amazon, and I'm just really excited about that. I've heard from people who have injuries, have chronic pain. I've heard from people just struggling with challenges in life that have told me it's been highly inspiring to them. And my wife said I opened up more in this book than I have in 30 years of marriage. So she really got to know me as well. Anyways, a really fun read. If you prefer to listen to books, it's available on audible.com. By the way, if you happen to know of anybody who's struggling with either a serious injury or struggling with chronic pain, just get a hold of Lori, send them that person's name and address, and I will ship them a free copy of this book as my way to reach out and help someone who's struggling in life. I've had feedback from I had an 82-year-old woman the other day that said, hey, I've been in a lot of pain. I read your book. I'm excited. I'm out walking again every day. Thanks so much for writing it. So anyways, I'm pretty had a lot of fun with that anyways. But the key thing as it relates to doing deals is it totally changed the way that I did business to where if you do get selected to be working with us, I will be your mentor. I will be your guide. This is not one of those deals like many of those other companies out there where they hit you up for $40,000, $50,000, and then they turn you to some $15 an hour coach that you find out has never bought real estate before. here I am hiking along. This is at the very end up in Maine. I'll let you figure out from that photo whether I made it or not. It wasn't easy, but it did actually help to heal my leg. I still do a little bit of exercise to keep it loose these days, but I managed to work through an issue that most people would have spent the rest of their life in severe chronic pain to heal my leg where it no longer bothers me. So here's why this is your one chance to grab onto this. This is not one of those things where there's only 2 spots left or anything like that. You've hit me at a point in my life where I don't have the big company. I'm working directly with my clients at this point. But it's not going to last forever. I'm at a point in my life. I've got six grandkids, 4 kids, another grandchild on the way. Time is very short, and I'm going to be taking on clients. I haven't announced this actually before this meeting here tonight, but this is as good a place as any. I'm going to be taking on clients probably through our June live event. Anyone that wants to come to that boardroom mastermind can get in by then. After that, I'll be working just with the clients, most likely who've come on to be working with me, and however long someone wants to work with me after that, but I won't be taking on any further clients after that. So this is kind of your chance. If something like this appeals to you, go to realestate101.com/Lori, put your info in and book a time on the calendar. We'll talk, see if we have a good fit. This is my team is excellent at finding people who are a good fit. There's you know, it's not a high pressure thing or anything like that. If it's not a good fit, the last thing I'd want to do is twist someone's arm to come on board, because the people I work with are excited to be working with me, and I'm excited to work with them. So if you don't do this, how are you going to reach your goals? How are you going to solve your biggest financial problems? If you really want to try, do you really want to keep trying to figure all of this out on your own? And it's really about breaking old habits. I know it's very easy. We're here today. We're going through this. You've been doing what you've been doing. You kind of get your old habits. From my end, whether you get started or not, you know what? I would very much like to help you either at the getting started end. If the commercial dream partner team is a fit for you, some of you might be more in the middle. Some of you might be more the boardroom elite, where you might be an accredited investor. You've got capital to invest. You'd like to talk about how we might be able to work together from that end. Some of you might apply to both things. You might want to have a little bit of both. You might want to be able to find deals and have other deals that you can invest in. To be frank with you, whether you come on board or not, I'm having a great time. I've been enjoying this. It's not going to make a huge difference in my life one way or the other. I don't say that to be crass or to be it sounds kind of like in your face. But if you don't do something, if you don't make a change, if you don't take advantage of this or something else, if you've got something better, go for it. Probably most likely old habits are going to take over. And then a day, 2, 3 from now, you're going to be back into your old habits and things will be the same old way they've been without any changes. Now, you can have money or you can have excuses. It's time to say goodbye to stress and just take the simple step to get started and go out, get some commercial properties, have some passive income, and start enjoying life. This is Kelly Fabros. She picked up this Holly Hills 100 unit. She went out and got Forest Ridge 56 units. You're just one commercial deal away from being set for life. So here's how to get started. You go here, you pick a time, answer a few questions. If you don't have any investing capital, that's really not a problem. We have funded deals completely within the team. I can't promise or guarantee this, obviously, but I've had clients who didn't even have the earnest money deposit for a deal. We got an investor to put up the earnest money deposit. We got other investors in the team who came up with the rest of the capital to fund the deal. And the not having the money should not be the reason that you hold back on investing in commercial properties. Once you know how to use the creative financing, once you know how to syndicate deals, whether you have capital or not, it's not going to matter because you'll have plenty of funding you need for your deals. So other questions that you have, go ahead and put them in. I'll stick around and get them answered for you here. This is Casey Cavell. He picked up this self-storage facility. The owner wanted $1 million with $200,000 down. Casey was able to get him down to $700,000 in the purchase price. He got a private investor to come up with a down payment, owner carry financing. He increased the occupancy of the self-storage from 65% to 95% in just 4 months, increased the cash flow from $2,500 to $3,500 a month. This is Steve Rush. We did a commercial property syndication. We helped with him. It was a 40-unit senior living independent living facility in Des Moines, Iowa. Steve raised $1.2 million from investors to fund this deal. So other people are out doing this. You can do this too. These are all folks who just are normal, regular, ordinary people just like you and I, right? So if you want to get started, go to realestate101.com/Lori or scan the QR code. If you have not enrolled in the challenge, you definitely want to do that. I think it's still in the chat. It's just realestate101.com/challenge. The challenge is absolutely free. It's a 5-day challenge to show you how to find, analyze, and make offers on commercial properties that get accepted. So I really got something for everyone. I've taken away all your excuses to get started investing in commercial real estate, no matter where you are. If you're someone that wants to just get started and try it out, take the challenge, that's a good way to get to know me a little better, start using some of my tools. What I find with the challenge is I get people where they get out there, they actually find that they get deals and they might even get something under contract. And then they're like, oh my goodness, I need some further help. So obviously it does lead to me getting clients, but you can have fun with that. Or if you're serious about it, either from the getting started end, or if you're someone with capital to invest and you like the idea about doing joint ventures, connecting, having a steady stream of deals that you can look at to either maybe pay a wholesale fee and take on yourself, from one of my other clients, or maybe do a joint venture or invest in a syndication. Lots of opportunities on both sides, both from the money side and from the side of people getting started. So any questions you guys have, I'm happy to go ahead and answer those. I appreciate the time with you here today. And I'm really excited to be with you here. I was telling Lori and Jeffrey that it's so cool that the pandemic got us all kind of started using Zoom, right? Used to be we'd get together and you'd have to drive to the hotel and it'd be late at night and you'd be out and driving home in the dark and all that. And it's fun. We can all get together right here on Zoom virtually. So thanks for coming out. Hopefully I've shared some good ideas. And if nothing else, opened your eyes up to the possibilities with commercial real estate investing here today.
So Peter, thank you. I'm going to have Jeff go ahead with the questions. Again, if anyone has questions, enter them into the chat and we'll get those answered by Peter. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hey, Peter, I was curious about that master lease. Did you have an option that allowed you to buy the property?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I probably didn't do a good job of explaining that. Yeah, the commercial master lease it's kind of like a lease option on a house. You get a master lease to control the entire property. You have to agree to the lease amount. You agree to a purchase price, which is typically, in this case, it was the value of the property when we took it over with the lower rents. And then you agree to a term. That term, longer is better. We like to have our commercial master lease. Actually, I've got one that the owner agreed to it. What day is today? Tuesday? They agreed to it Friday, and I still need to get the paperwork over to them. It's just a little 6-unit deal, but you need to agree to how long you're going to have that lease can go for, to where during that lease term, you can exercise it is technically an option. We don't call it an option when we're negotiating the deal. We basically say, hey, we're going to buy this. We wouldn't do the deal if we didn't know we could buy it. We actually write up the paperwork where it is an option, but it doesn't look like an option, if that makes sense. It can't get too deep into the details, but those contracts has to do with the default clause. The default clause in the purchase contract that we have them sign ahead of time makes it where if we don't close, we can basically get out of the deal. Not that we probably would in 5 or 10 years, but worst case if we wanted to. So,
are most of the commercial properties multifamily?
For most people getting started, multifamily creates an opportunity for the least risk. One of the best ways to get into commercial is oftentimes multifamily. We've got properties right now. We've got under contract a mobile home park. We just closed on another mobile home park. We've got a 18-unit that we just closed on. We've got a triple net lease property that went under contract that we were reviewing this morning. We've got office buildings, retail. We've got a little bit of everything. It does tend to lean more towards multi-unit properties for two reasons. That's a lower risk way for a lot of people to get started, and everyone always needs a place to live. So,
you know, for beginners, I guess, right? Is there a size of apartment building that works best more than others?
Well, what I encourage my clients to do is to go after both base hits, which could be something as small as even I mean, sounds crazy, but a 4-unit, like a 4-unit, 10-unit, 20-unit. 4-unit isn't even technically commercial. It's not technically commercial until you get to 5 units. But I found if someone can get a couple of smaller units going, that can kind of prime the pump, and it can show some of these brokers, the lenders, investors that you're serious, right? If you're doing deals. On the other hand, I find that it's helpful to go after big deals right from the beginning as well, because you just never know, you know, when you might get something right away. Paul, one of our dream partners, he got a 90-unit under contract as his first commercial deal. Wes down in Texas, he's got a 135-unit deal that he's working on that we're pretty excited about. So you never know, you might just get a bigger deal. The other reason for going after bigger deals, two things. Number one, it stretches you a little bit. If you're working on a bigger deal, a 150-unit deal, even if you don't get it under contract, then when we go look at a 30-unit 2 weeks later in comparison, it just makes that 30-unit look kind of simple and easy, which it is. The third reason for going after big deals is that when we're working with these brokers, if you can mention some of these bigger deals that you're working on in a fun way, you can kind of intimidate the broker a little bit to where they feel like they need to qualify to work with you rather than the other way around. So yeah, great question.
Do you ever buy the business with the property?
We've had a few of those come up, like laundromats. What is the other one? Laundromat and convenience store, too, that I know that have come up. The challenge with something like that is if you own the business, then you've got to be there to run it, and you need a person that you can trust to be there and run the business without stealing the money from the laundromat or whatever. My recommendation is always, if you can own the property and have someone else that owns the business, that way they're going to be the one that needs to be there at 8 in the morning to unlock it and run the business. And you can be the one that owns the property. You don't have to deal with any of that. So
I get it. What's your experience with assisted living and memory care?
I had a client at one point in time. He was a doctor that was on the East Coast that he was interested in assisted living. We dug in. We looked at quite a few different properties. We found some that made excellent sense. And for the life of me, I could not get him to write a purchase contract. It was the craziest thing. Even though the contracts, you have the ability to get out. With our contract, we can tie up a property for 3.5 to 4 months and still get out without risking your earnest money deposit or any of that. And he just would not pull the trigger on it. And I worked with him for, it was about 1.5 years. And finally, I just said, look, if you're not going to make an offer, I can't help you buy a property. So I got a good introduction to that. We found that with assisted living, certainly with memory care, it's kind of like your previous question. It's not just the property. It's very much a business that you're getting into. And you need to, like any business, you need to stay on top of it. You need to have good people working there. You need to work on enrollment, keeping your facility filled up income-wise and keeping your expenses down. And if you don't stay on top of it, it's easy to get into a situation where it can turn a good investment into a bad investment.
Hey, Peter, I have a kind of a detailed question. So the property finder or the deal finder software that you had shown before, did you want to share the cost of that, or how does a member access that? How do you go about that?
Oh, just go to commercialdealfinder.com. Yeah, that's not my company, but it's something that everyone uses, and we found it very useful. In fact, I actually, for my clients, I provide the training for them to show them how to go through and use the filters and that type of thing. They provide the support also. I just found with my clients, if I could tell them specifically how to use it, it seemed to help them out better. Awesome.
Lori, I'm not seeing any more questions. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I think, Peter, could you explain more the difference between the boardroom and the mastermind? If there's any qualification criteria for those?
Yeah, probably the biggest difference is the boardroom elite mastermind. We basically get together. We have a Zoom call once a month. Where we get together. We have the in-person meeting. We do have ways that we can communicate in between those times. Part of that is the networking connections that go on with people at that level. With the Commercial Dream Partner Program, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, everything from Zoom calls throughout the week to a lot of activity on the forum, whether it's deals or questions or take a look at this contract, that type of thing. We had one this morning that came in where the broker didn't want to use our contract, which we actually do pretty good. We get our contract accepted, I don't know, maybe 80% of the time. We do run into these brokers who say, no, we want to use our official state contract or whatever. In this case, they wanted a very short, even though they're doing owner carry financing, they wanted a very short due diligence period, a very short closing period. And our advice was that's probably not a good idea, as he's going to need to bring a couple investors in to help with the down payment, even though it's an owner carry deal. And so probably the biggest difference, if you put them in two complete categories, is the Commercial Dream Partner Program is for someone who wants to be very active in their investing, and the boardroom is more for someone who wants to be maybe more of a passive investor or already has some things going and just wants to connect and relationships and that type of thing. Just take what they've already done and take it up to the next level. And some people end up basically being in a spot where we say, hey, look, from where you're at, we'll work with you and basically give you access to both of those. So, and that's something we could discuss with anybody once they book a call with us. We can talk further.
So
yeah,
Peter,
question.
there are other syndication opportunities out there. There's other teachers. How does your program differ from those?
I don't keep up with all the other people out there, so I don't know what they're doing. Yeah. I think probably the biggest difference is, in what people tell me, is that I'm actively involved. The clients that I work with have direct contact with me. They're not handed off to some hired person or former student or that type of thing. That's something that I found actually has made life just really, really fun and exciting for me. I mean, things were fun back when I had my big company as well, but just on a personal fulfillment level, I'm having so much fun. I'm like a little kid in a sandbox, putting deals together and lining up capital. And my wife says I would do deals all day long and all night if I could get away with it. I think she's probably right.
I'm with you.
All right. You're the same way, aren't you?
I'm 100% the same way. Someone sends me a deal, I'm like working on it, and it's like, oh, it's 11 o'clock at night. Oh, yeah, I love it. As far as data goes, the software you have, is that providing the data, or you're getting the data from somewhere else and your software is automating the process?
Yeah, we get our data. As I mentioned, we used to get it from PropStream. Commercial Deal Finder seems to be the best source lately. We download Commercial Deal Finder does do direct mail and other things, skip tracing, that type of thing. But then we download the files out of there and then upload it. Commercial Investor Pro is a CRM, which does, email, text, ringless voicemail, that type of thing. So yeah, we're getting the data, and then there's a download and import process. One of these days, we hope to find a way to get our programmers to put that all into one where you don't have to do that. But at this point in time, it does, the data comes from one place and it's put into the automated marketing software.
And that's the software that sends it out, right?
Yes.
Sends out the offers. Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
I have a typical SJREI question. Where are the deals? Which part of the country, Midwest or other states, how much involvement is required? Where are the deals that you see?
You know, that's a good question. I get, because I have my clients, I have them pick their local area as one area to focus on, which of course that's, you know, we have people all over the country. And then I have them pick a virtual area, and everyone always wants to know, you know, where's the best market or the best profits or that type of thing. And I basically say, why don't you pick an area where you've got relatives or family, or you'd like a good business reason to go travel there, because there's deals everywhere out there. California is a good example. I've had clients that say, oh, the cap rates are so low here, there's no deals. And then we have people, you know, Hector's on his $3 million deal right now. He's got a deal right now where it's a rent controlled property, and the rents are $1,000 a month. He's paying, using money from a hard money loan, he's paying his tenants $15,000 to move, and then he's increasing the rent to $2,000 a month. And it works out in the deal where he's going to have his third deal with in round numbers about $1 million profit. And he's been doing this for a year and a half.
Nice. All right. We're going to call it a wrap. Thank you everyone for joining us at SJREI. Again, if you have interest with Peter, you can head out to the website. We've got it in the chat there for you on the screen. And if you have interest in the rehab that I mentioned earlier, being a JV partner on that, go ahead and hit me up on that. Thank you. Until the next perfect time, we will see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Peter.
Have a nice rest of your day. Bye-bye.